why you're here. I know why you're here. You saw the thumbnail.
Taking Holmes and slamming for two, and that's a way to get rid of the taste.
Yo, this is Tribe with Yo Tribe Sports Bag. As you can see, I'm back in the kitchen again today because this episode requires me to do so. But before we get to that episode, take care of this YouTube thing for me. Hit the subscribe button. And when you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the alarm bell. That way you get every drop as I drop it, regardless of sport. And you will be happy just as well as I'll be happy. And it will take care of the algorithm as well. Also, I would want to get to my first 1,000 subscribers. I want a large sports community. That way we can intermingle, we can interact, we can talk about the sports we love. So do me that solid, and you'll continue to get these kinds of shows, this type of content, which I think you do like because I look at the metrics and it looks like you're watching it for quite some time. So why not help a brother out so he can continue to put out this kind of content? So without further ado, you already know what it's about. You know why you're here. I know why you're here. You saw the thumbnail, and that thumbnail said, making the case for Joel Embiid, MVP of the NBA. Now, we know what it's about right now. The battle for MVP is coming down to just two people, even though we think about three. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's on it. Giannis is on the list, but it's coming down to the consensus two picks. Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers and Nikola Jokic, the Joker of the Denver Nuggets. So we'll have to get into this, but in order to get into it, I have to take you to court. I got to make this case for Joel Embiid. Meet me in the kitchen court. You may begin now, counsel. State your case. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm here to make a case for Joel Embiid for the Philadelphia 76ers. If you don't mind, can I wear my hat? Because I wasn't expected to come in today to defend him. I'm not even a 76ers fan. I'm a Knicks fan, but I was called at a moment's notice to make a case for Joel Embiid. So if you don't mind, can I wear my hat? That is disrespectful to the court, but yes, you may wear it. Really? Okay. So, Joel Embiid, as you may know, he missed the first 2 seasons of his career because of injury. But since he's come back, he's been as dominant a player as you could possibly have in the NBA. He's pretty much single-handedly carried the Philadelphia 76ers to the playoffs, in which he was the dominant player on both teams most times. You know, even in losses, you saw how talented a player Joel Embiid is. I mean, all of these injuries had nothing to do with anything because ultimately we're here now. And right now, he is the league leader in scoring. The first center to do so in over 20 years when Shaquille O'Neal had done it. So there's something to be said about that in terms of just the overall scope of NBA MVP. Now, I know there were other worthy people that are in the conversation. Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets is probably the guy that he's going against right now. No disrespect to Giannis in Milwaukee, but these two guys are probably the consensus two players coming down to the wire trying to get that prestigious award. And I'll tell you what, a little bit later in my testimony, I will let you know there are some important things from people who watch basketball, important people that I want you to know, and you will hear about them and from them when I get to it. But back to Joel Embiid. He averages over 30.6 points a game in today's NBA. A big man doing those kinds of things. He's been absolutely dominant. I don't think anyone has been more dominating in a shorter period of time than Joel Embiid. He's a record-setting player. I mean, not only did he become the first center to lead the league in over 20 years in terms of scoring, look at some of the games in which he's played. He scored 50 points in just 27 minutes against the Orlando Magic earlier this season. That's absolute dominance. If you've never seen domination before, that's it. And that's just a piece of the puzzle, and he's the first foreign player to do that in terms of leading the league in scoring. This is the NBA. It's a foreign league along with Americans, but we know it's an international game now. And he's going against just as much, if not more talent than any other era before him. And he's showing this dominance. Yes, rules have been changed and so forth, but he's being as dominant as allowed to do so while he's here in the NBA right now. He's the first center since Moses Malone 40 years ago to win this prestigious scoring title. And that is a huge, because you know what kind of player Moses Malone was. He's the first Sixer to do so since Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was a guard. So being a center really matters, because this isn't a league that really relies on centers as much as it did in the past. It's bringing a new wave with him and Jokic. They're showing that centers could be used and dominate the NBA, therefore helping your team. And for those of you who think I may have something against Jokic, you can put that away, because I've made a show about him explaining why he may have an argument as well. You can check it out right here if you want, after the court case. Anyway, Joel Embiid, Your Honor, he does deserve to win the MVP, and you have to watch the games. In order to come to a fair assessment, you have to watch the games. Stats alone will not give you what you need to know about Joel Embiid. Watching the games and watching his dominance, you watch what he and the Joker in Denver are doing, and you can see the similarities, but then you can also see their differences. They're great players. There is no doubt they're in this argument for a reason. And Jokic is going for his second championship, but Giannis is in the mix. He's certainly in the mix. And in some opinions, he's the leader in the clubhouse, not Jokic. So these are things you need to consider. Advanced stats. Do we have to dig that far in order to come out with a unanimous pick, or come out with a pick at all? You're digging deep down into advanced stats to choose a player of this magnitude, the MVP of the NBA. It isn't just about scoring. It's about what you really mean to your team. What do you mean to your team? Without you, they don't win. That's the basic part of it. But with you, you've carried them, and while carrying them all year long against other really good teams, you shine. Even in losses, you shine. That's what this MVP is all about. Jokic has done it in some of his games, and Joel Embiid, he continues to do it in most of his games. So give a man some credit, if not all of the credit, for being in this position once again. It's not like he hasn't been there before. Let's not get blinded by the media. The media hypnosis and repetition is a condition that they put upon fans and even voters. Because if you repeat the same thing over and over, you may just go the way of the noise instead of letting your eyes tell you what you're seeing. And if you know basketball, your eyes can come to a more decisive decision on who needs to be the MVP of the NBA. Both are deserving. But in my opinion, my client, Joel Embiid, he deserves it a little bit more. Once again, if you don't think so, or if you think I'm a little biased, check out the video up here. Jokic is deserving as well, but I believe in terms of overall dominance and consistent dominance in its truest sense, Joel Embiid is the one you want to come to when it comes down to that. My final statement, Your Honor. Social media know-it-alls, and we know you cannot talk basketball these days without being on social media. You got to go to the real experts. And in my hands right here, I have quotes from some of the best experts in all of basketball from a Facebook group. No one's ever wrong in there. They know everything. They may not have played in the NBA. They may not have gone to broadcasting school, but they know everything. So I'm going to quote some of the reasons why Joel Embiid needs to be this year's MVP of the NBA. And I quote, he already got one. That's in regards to Nikola Jokic having an MVP already. So when you have wise words like that vouching for Embiid against Jokic, you got to take it and you got to really look at it. I don't think it could be more eloquent. Another one from Embiid himself. I'll feel like they hate me if he doesn't win the MVP. He believes the NBA hates him if he does not win the MVP. He won't be able to sleep. He won't be able to play well. He'll come back in the next season and be even more dominant and angry and probably pick up a bunch of technical fouls. Your Honor, my client, Joel Embiid, give him the respect he deserves. Give him the respect he needs. He's the MVP of this year's NBA, 2021 to 2022. And in the wise words of my Facebook buddy here, who I had just mentioned, you don't give it to Jokic. Why? He already got one. Until next time. I will give you my decision, perhaps in June. So wait until further notice.